Hello and welcome. Today, we share the powerful story of Anna Smith, a woman who started with pain and ended with power. Her journey is full of secrets, strength, and one life-changing decision. Stay with us to see how she took back control and became free. My name is Anna Smith. My life was not easy. I was 25 years old and had school loans to pay. My mother was sick and needed special treatment. This treatment was very expensive. I worked 2 jobs every day to earn enough money. I felt tired all the time. Life was hard. One evening, my friend invited me to a party. It was a big party in a beautiful house. Everyone there was rich. I wore a simple dress and felt like I didn't belong. Then, I saw a man standing across the room. His name was Mr. Thomas Sterling. He wore a dark, expensive suit. He looked powerful and serious. He was far away, but I felt him watching me. His eyes stayed on me for a long time. I didn't understand why a man like him would look at someone like me. After the party ended, it was late and raining outside. Mr. Sterling came to me and asked, "Do you need a ride home?" I was shocked. His car was big, black, and very expensive. I said yes because it was raining hard and I needed to go home. Inside the car, he did not talk much. After a few minutes, he asked, "Are you hungry?" He took me to a very nice restaurant. It was a place I could never afford. The food was amazing, but I felt nervous sitting with him. He said little, but kept looking at me. After dinner, he looked at me with serious eyes and said, "Anna, I know your life is difficult. I am a rich man, and I don't have family close to me. Sometimes I want someone to stay with me. I can give you money, a lot of money. You will not need to work 2 jobs anymore. Your mother can have the best medical care. Will you let me help you?" His words were surprising. My mind told me something felt strange. But I thought about my mother. I thought about my tired life and all the money I owed. Mr. Sterling said nothing more. He waited for my answer. He was offering me a new life. It felt like a dream, but also a risk. A life with a man I didn't know. A life that seemed exciting and maybe dangerous. I took a deep breath. I had to decide. My choice would change everything. I agreed to Mr. Sterling's offer. I said yes. My life changed quickly. One day, I had 2 jobs. The next day, I was part of his world. It was a world I had never known. There was money and luxury everywhere. He had his own plane. We traveled to many cities. We stayed in large and beautiful hotels. He bought me many gifts, expensive clothes, shoes, and jewelry with gold and diamonds. My small old apartment felt very far away. Now, I lived in a big house. Mr. Sterling explained the rules of this new life. He looked at me with serious eyes. He said, "I want company, Anna, not love. Be loyal to me and only me. Don't ask about my work. My business is not for you." Then he gave me a document. It was a contract. It said I would live with him and be his companion. It said he would pay me money every month, a large amount. It also said I must not tell anyone about our life. I read the contract. My hand was a little shaky. I signed it. It felt strange. It felt like I was giving away my time, maybe even a part of who I was. I told myself I was doing this for my mother, for her health, and for a better life. I said it was only about the money, not about feelings. I tried hard to believe that. Living with Mr. Sterling was not simple. He was often silent. Sometimes he was very cold. He didn't show much feeling. But now and then he was gentle. He would look at me in a way that didn't feel like business. This made it confusing. I started to feel something for him. I didn't know what the feeling was. It wasn't the kind of love found in stories. It was difficult to understand. He gave me everything I needed and more. But he stayed distant. He was like a puzzle I could not solve. He was rich and strong, and I lived in his house, but I didn't really know him. The house was big and lovely, but sometimes it felt like I was trapped. I had so much, but I didn't feel fully free, and my heart, which I had told myself not to use, began to beat faster when he was near. It felt wrong. I knew this life wasn't normal, but I was living it now, in his world, beginning a strange new chapter. Now, I lived in Mr. Sterling's large house. It was very quiet. One day, I went into his study. This room had many books and old objects. I walked around, looking at everything. On the desk, I noticed a photo. It showed a woman. She was very beautiful. She had dark hair and a warm smile. I thought, who is she? Maybe his sister. But he had told me he had no family nearby. He never shared anything about his past. Later that day, I saw Mr. Sterling and decided to ask him about the picture. I said, Mr. Sterling, who is the woman in the photo in your study? He stopped and stared at me. His face turned cold. His eyes looked sharp like ice. It's nothing, he said in a hard voice. It's an old photo, not important. He went to the desk, took the photo quickly, opened a drawer, and put it inside. He didn't want me to ask more or see it again. His reaction felt strange. Why would he say it was nothing? Why did he hide it so fast? Something didn't feel right. There was also a housekeeper in the house. Her name was Mrs. Gable. She was an older woman who had worked for Mr. Sterling for a long time. She didn't speak much, but sometimes I saw a sad look in her eyes when she looked at me. One day, we were in the kitchen together. She was making tea. We were alone. She looked at me and then spoke in a quiet voice. Miss Anna, she said, please be careful in this house. Mr. Sterling has many secrets. What you see or hear might not always be true. Be careful. Her words made me feel nervous. Secrets? Not the truth? First the photo, then how Mr. Sterling acted, now this warning. The house didn't feel the same anymore. It felt like there were hidden things all around me. I started to think I didn't really know who Mr. Sterling was. What was he hiding? The house was beautiful, but it now felt like a place with many closed doors, and I had only seen a few. One morning, Mr. Sterling came to speak with me. He looked serious. Anna, he said, I have something important to ask you. It's about my work. My heart started beating faster. I knew I was not supposed to ask about his business. What is it? I asked. I need to get married, he said. My eyes opened wide. Married to me? I remembered he once said he didn't want love, only company. I began to speak, but you said... He stopped me. It's not a real marriage, Anna, he explained. It's only for business. I need a wife on paper for a deal. It will help my company a lot. This marriage will be only on paper. Nothing between us will change. You will still live here. I'll still support you. You'll be my wife only in name. Will you do this for me, for us? A paper marriage, not real, just for business. It felt strange, like another part of the contract I signed before, but this felt more serious. He wanted me to be his wife in front of the law, even though we weren't truly together. It felt like I was going deeper into his world, a place I might not be able to leave so easily. I remembered the contract that had changed everything. I was already living in his world. Maybe this was just the next part of our agreement. It wasn't about love. It was about documents and business. Yes, I said at last. I will marry you on paper. The wedding was small and quiet. No family came. No friends were there. It was just Mr. Sterling and me. A lawyer was there, and Mrs. Gable also watched. I wore a lovely white dress, but I didn't feel like a bride. It felt like I was signing another deal, another serious agreement that tied me to him even more. My hand didn't shake this time, but my heart felt heavy. It was filled with questions, full of uncertainty about what we were doing. That day, I became the wife of Mr. Thomas Sterling, my wealthy and secretive man. Now, on paper, he was my husband, but I still didn't really know who he was deep down. After the paper wedding, everything felt strange. Now I was Mrs. Sterling. Sometimes I went with him to events. There were many people there. They looked at us, the young wife and the rich man. I smiled for them and tried to look happy. But inside, I felt like I was pretending. It didn't feel real. It was like acting for the crowd. I was his wife, only by name, and that made me feel very alone. I wore pretty clothes and smiled for photos, but inside, I felt empty. The marriage was not real, just like the smiles I gave to people. I was Mrs. Sterling, but my heart felt like it didn't belong to anyone, not even to me. The doubt stayed with me, quiet but always there, in our big, silent house. Life after the paper wedding felt unusual. I was now Mrs. Sterling. I went with Mr. Sterling to some social events. People stared at us, the young wife and the wealthy man. I smiled and tried to look happy, but deep down, I felt like I was acting in a show. One day, I wanted to surprise Mr. Sterling with lunch at his office. It was a tall, modern building. When I got there, I heard loud voices. A woman was yelling in the front area. She sounded very upset. "He promised me," she shouted. "He said he would marry me." I stopped walking. Who was she? Why was she yelling about Mr. Sterling? Then she noticed me. Her face turned even redder. She pointed right at me. "You!" she screamed. "You stole my life. He was with me for years. He said we would get married. Then you came and took it all." Her name was Clara. She said Mr. Sterling had promised to marry her. She was the woman he had been seeing before me. My mind felt dizzy. Mr. Sterling told me our marriage was only for business, just something on paper. But he gave Clara a real promise. Did he only marry me to end things with her? Was I only part of a plan? A tool he used for business, or to get rid of her? I felt awful, like I was just something he used, not a real person. I went home feeling sick. Later, when Mr. Sterling returned, he was calm. He said nothing about Clara. He acted like nothing had happened. Later that day, I saw his phone lying on the table. I looked at it. There were messages from other women. Some said things like, "Thinking of you," or "Call me." Were these women also part of his past, like Clara? Or were they part of his life now? Even if our marriage was only for business, it still hurt. I thought I was the only one in this agreement. I felt confused and sad. Who was the man I had married? What else was he hiding from me? A cold fear came over me. I couldn't live like this, not knowing what was real. Not knowing the truth was painful. Clara's angry words and Mrs. Gable's quiet warning came back to my mind. I had to find out what Mr. Sterling was keeping from me. I needed to know everything. I couldn't keep living like this, not knowing the truth, not knowing who I had really married. Clara's words stayed in my mind. So did Mrs. Gable's warning. I had to learn all of Mr. Sterling's secrets. I decided to get help. I found a man who was a private investigator. He finds hidden things. He finds the truth. I gave him a lot of money that Mr. Sterling had given me. I used that money to find out who he really was. I asked the investigator to check Mr. Sterling's business and his past. He worked quickly. He discovered many bad things. He told me that Mr. Sterling's money was not clean. It came from illegal deals. He used fake companies to hide his money. He used different names, and he used people, especially women, to help him hide his actions. Was this the reason he married me? Did he use me to cover something bigger? Then, the investigator told me something that shocked me. It was very serious. "Mrs. Sterling," he said, "your marriage is legal, and because of the documents you signed and how he set things up, one of his companies, a big one, is now in your name. Mr. Sterling had put it under my name when we got married. Maybe he planned to change it later, but at that moment, the company legally belonged to me. I didn't know any of this. Mr. Sterling had never told me. He said the marriage was only for business, just on paper, but that paper made me the owner of a big part of his business. He didn't want me to have real power. He wanted to use me, but now I had something he didn't expect. I had power. I wasn't just someone he controlled. I wasn't only a name on a contract. I owned something important. Finding out the truth was painful. Mr. Sterling wasn't just rich and cold. He was dangerous. His money was not clean. He used people, and he used me too. But he made a mistake. He gave me more power than he meant to, and he didn't know I had found out. I had found out the truth. Mr. Sterling was not a good person. His business was not honest. He used people, like me. But he made one big mistake. When we got married, he put one of his companies in my name. By law, it was mine. He never meant to give me power, but he did. I stopped feeling like a victim. I was no longer scared or sad. I chose to change. I chose to play his game, but in my own way. In front of others, I acted like the perfect wife. I smiled at parties. I spoke politely to his business friends. I held his arm. I looked happy and sweet. People saw a rich man and his young, lovely wife. Mr. Sterling liked what he saw. He believed I was doing what he expected. But when I was alone in the big house, I changed. I started to work. I looked at the company that now belonged to me. I read documents. I tried to learn about his business. How did he earn money? Who did he work with? What were his goals? I spent the money he gave me to learn even more. I paid people to help me read and understand the business papers. I began asking quiet questions to the people he worked with. I made them see I was not just a simple wife. I was learning quickly. Bit by bit, they began to trust me. They started sharing things about the business. They had no idea that I was making a plan. Mr. Sterling didn't notice that I had changed. He still thought I was the girl he rescued. He didn't see that I was becoming stronger. He didn't know I was learning his world. I was making a secret plan. A plan to leave this life. A plan to take back control. A plan to beat him at his own game. I was not escaping. I was preparing to fight back. It was our anniversary day. 1 year had passed since the paper marriage. Mr. Sterling came home. He looked the same, but I was not the same. Inside, I felt strong now. I had learned many things. I knew his secrets, his business, and about the company he put under my name. He gave a small smile. "Happy anniversary, Anna," he said. I did not smile. I looked at him without fear. "Thomas," I said. I used his first name. He looked surprised. "I know," I said. His face changed. "Know what?" he asked. "I know about Clara," I told him. "I know about the other women. I know your business is not clean. I know about all the companies. And I know about the one you gave me when we got married. The law says it belongs to me." He looked angry. His eyes were cold again, but now there was fear in them too. "How do you know this?" he shouted. I pulled papers from my bag. I placed them on the table between us. "These are divorce papers," I said in a calm voice. "I am leaving, and I am keeping the company. You made a mistake putting it in my name. You wanted to use me for your business, but the marriage gave me rights. You didn't want me to have power, but now I have it." He jumped up. His face turned red. "You can't do this," he shouted. "You are nothing. I gave you everything." "You gave me money," I said, "and I used it to learn. I learned your world, your business, your power. I learned how to win. You thought I was just a quiet wife, but I was not." He looked at the papers. Then he looked at me. He knew I was right about the company. He knew the law was on my side. He was angry, but he could not change it. He had power and money, but his mistake had cost him. I said nothing more. I turned and walked away. I left the big house. I did not take any clothes or jewelry. I left all the things he gave me. I was not the same woman who came here 1 year ago. I was different, stronger, smarter, and free. I walked out into the night. I left Mr. Sterling and all his secrets behind me. He no longer controlled me. The company was mine now. My name was Anna Smith, and I was finally free, strong, and rich. It was the last day of my old life, the first day of my new one. After I left Mr. Sterling's house, I did not know exactly where to go, but I did not feel lost. For the first time, I was walking in the world with power in my hands. I found a small hotel and stayed there for a few nights. I used my own money, not his. I was thinking about what to do next. I had the company, but I did not want to be like Mr. Sterling. I did not want to lie or hurt people. I wanted to build something better. I started meeting with people who worked in the company. At first, they looked at me with doubt. They thought I was only the boss's wife. But I asked questions. I listened. I read every report. I learned about the business, what worked and what was broken. Some people quit. Some stayed and helped. I made changes, small at first. I wanted the company to grow, but in a clean and honest way. News started to spread. People were surprised. They said, "Anna Smith is not just a name on paper. She is the real owner now." That made me proud. I started to feel like I had earned everything, not because I married Mr. Sterling, but because I worked for it. Weeks passed, then months. I moved into a new home. It was not as big as the one I left, but it felt like mine. I decorated it the way I liked. Simple, warm, full of light. I even found time to help my mother again. She smiled when she saw me. "You look happy," she said. "You look free." And I was. One evening, I stood by the window of my office. I looked out at the city lights. I thought about the girl I used to be, the tired woman, with debts and no choices. Then I thought of the woman I had become, smart, brave, not afraid anymore. I had made mistakes. I had trusted the wrong man, but I did not let that break me. I turned my pain into power. I used what he gave me to build something new, something better, and now I was not just free. I was a leader. My name is Anna Smith. I am no one's shadow. I am no one's mistake. I am my own story. And this is only the beginning. Sometime later, I was invited to speak at a business event. It was a big place, full of important people. When I walked onto the stage, I saw many eyes looking at me. Some remembered me as Mr. Sterling's young wife, but now I stood there as myself, Anna Smith, owner of a company, a woman who changed her life. I told them a little of my story. Not all the secrets, but enough. I said, "Sometimes people give you something to use you. But if you are smart, you can turn that into your strength. You can change the story. You can become free." People clapped. After the event, many women came to me. They said, "You give us hope." That made me feel something I had never felt before. Proud not just of what I had survived, but of who I had become. One day, I walked past the building that once held Mr. Sterling's office. I stopped and looked up at it. The lights were off. He was gone. No one spoke of him anymore. His name was fading. But mine was just beginning. I thought of everything. The party, the contract, the photo, the paper marriage, the pain, and I knew it was all part of the road I had walked. Hard, yes, but it made me strong. I had no regrets. Now, I run the company. I help other women build their own futures. I give jobs, not just money. I listen to people, not control them. I lead with heart, not fear. At home, I sit with my mother. We drink tea. She says, "You are not the same girl I raised." I smile and say, "No, Mama, I am stronger now." This is the end of one story, but it is also the start of another. My name is Anna Smith, and I chose my own ending. If Anna's story touched you, please like this video and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs hope or strength. Remember, It's never too late to change your life. We'll be back with more real stories to inspire you. Thank you for watching.